Alright, what's going on, you guys? Nick here with Nick Strength and Power. So a while ago I did a video on the bodybuilder who was on the cover of Van Halen's album 5150. I thought it would be cool to do another video similar to that, and in this video we're going to talk about a Grand Funk Railroad album called All the Girls in the World Beware. So because this band was primarily at the peak of its popularity in the 1970s, there's probably a lot of you younger guys watching this that have no idea who they are. Maybe you've never heard of them. You've probably definitely never heard of this album. But if you haven't heard of them or you haven't heard of this particular record, look up the song Some Kind of Wonderful on YouTube. I guarantee most of you younger guys have probably heard this song. So that was a single that was on this album, as well as the song Bad Times. So look up either one of those songs, but probably Some Kind of Wonderful. Most of you guys have heard. So that is who this band is, and that song is on this record. Alright, so the reason I'm making a video about this album is obviously if you look at the cover here, there are bodybuilders on the cover of this album. And recently I received a message on Instagram asking me who these four bodybuilders were on the cover, and they are also pictured on the back, hitting back shots. So it's actually kind of cool. On the front, they're hitting front double biceps and stuff, and on the back, they're hitting like back double biceps. So in reality, it's actually not four bodybuilders on this album. It's two, and they're two very well-known bodybuilders. So this album actually came out in 1974. So at that time, Arnold Schwarzenegger was the reigning Mr. Olympia, and he was getting pretty close to his the peak of his career. Pumping Iron would come out about a year later, so he was becoming pretty famous at that point in time. So being the #1 bodybuilder in the world, it would seem fitting that if you're going to put a bodybuilder on the cover of your album, it would be Arnold Schwarzenegger. So in the blue trunks, you have Arnold Schwarzenegger pictured, and in the red trunks, you have Franco Columbu pictured. So actually what they did was they photoshopped the faces of the four members of the band onto these pictures of Arnold and Franco. So 2 pictures of Arnold, 2 pictures of Franco, and the same is true for the back. So this is actually a pretty cool piece of bodybuilding history because to my knowledge, I don't know of any other bands or any other records that have been allowed to use Arnold's images on any of their, promotional merchandise, especially not the cover of their album. So I think this is definitely a very rare piece of bodybuilding history, especially considering the fact that this was before Pumping Iron came out. So bodybuilding was, decent sized. It had a decent sized following, but it wasn't crazy big until really after Pumping Iron. So you got to remember at this point, Arnold was not a movie star yet. Bodybuilding had not gone mainstream yet. Pumping Iron had not come out. So it's actually really cool that they decided to use these photos of Arnold and Franco during that time period, because really bodybuilding had not hit its stride yet. It wasn't at the peak of its popularity yet, as it would be more so in the later 70s and early 80s. So at the time this album came out, I'm sure a lot of people thought that it was pretty obscure that they would use these photos of these bodybuilders on the cover. So for any of you Grand Funk fans here, I'll go through the list of the tracks on this album. So track 1 was Responsibility. Track 2 was Runnin'. Track 3 was Life. Track 4 was Look at Granny Run Run. Track 5 was Memories. On side 2, track 1 was All the Girls in the World Beware. Track 2 was Wild. Track 3 was Good and Evil. Track 4 was Bad Time. And track 5 was Some Kind of Wonderful. Also included inside of this record was a poster with the bodybuilders illustrated, surrounded by a crowd of females. That illustration was done by Neil Adams. And in addition to being printed on the cover of the record, they were also printed on the disc labels, the pictures of Arnold Schwarzenegger and Franco Columbu. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please give it a thumbs up if you did enjoy it and you want to see more of these obscure little bodybuilding stories, little pieces of bodybuilding history. Thank you guys for watching. Nick Strength and Power, signing out.